Need anything? Sure, let's talk about whatever you like. So I was thinking about what you said, how even you have imposter syndrome. And you're right. It's normal to doubt yourself. As long as you know who you are, you won't let them bury you. In any case, I wanted to offer you something as thanks. It's my Galacticat, Silver. Because of her fur. I guess she's more gray than silver, but gray is so gloomy. Silver's better. No problem. I appreciate you taking her. Silver's been my best friend for a long time, but I feel like I've outgrown her. It does. I guess I should explain. So, for as long as I can remember, I felt loneliest around other people. I guess it's because they reminded me of all the things I'd never have. Family, friends, love. One day, when I was wandering the markets, I found Silver in a trash can, discarded and worn. At the time, I just wanted a friend. But she was also a reminder of how the world saw me, and that I'd always be alone. But for some reason, I haven't felt that way in a while. And I think it's because I joined your crew. It really is. I feel more at home in your crew than I ever did at House Kadik. And it's a credit to you as a leader, Captain. So I guess I want to say, good job. And thanks. I'm self-taught, actually. My parents died before I could remember, and I was left in the care of the orphanage. But I left at a young age to train as a herald, so I could someday spread the gospel of the Great Serpent. Except there was one problem. I refused to speak. I was completely mute. Me too. But it took some time to get to where I am now. I was told to focus on reading, writing, and shooting. However, since I was left to my own devices, oftentimes I would make my own curriculum. And the more I read about Jinan Varun, the more curious I got about the physics behind grav jumps. But it wasn't until I met my father, Amon Kadik, that my path changed from herald to scientist. Yes, when we say all must serve, we mean it. It's just the manner of service that varies. But the base expectation is that we know how to fight. For myself, long-range weapons made the most sense due to my size. But I also trained with the growth dagger in the event I had to be sneaky and kill someone close. Razma and Jimal's uncle, on their mother's side. Due to his work, he was mostly removed from the politics of the house. But he was respected and had enough favor among the family to adopt me without much dissent. That would be some trick if you did. No one has seen him for years. But while he was here, he accomplished much in service to House Faroon. We met in the strangest way. He was dealing with a mathematical problem, but came to the temple to pray for guidance. Oh, you should have seen the look on his face when I offered him the solution. It was the second most shocked look I've ever seen in my life. Maybe. The Great Serpent can be direct if he wants to. From there, we discussed all manner of scientific theory for hours and hours into the night. At some point, the sun began to cut through the windows, and the heralds began to spill in for their morning prayer. And that's when I saw the most shocked look I have ever seen in my life. Because they all realized what I didn't until that very moment. My voice had come back. That's what Amon said too. So he adopted me into House Kadik to train me as his apprentice. For the next 6 years, Amon helped me grow from an amateur physicist to the person I am today. And then one day, he just disappeared. No one knows why. No. He was always a private man, but it's a complete mystery. No one saw him leave, and there's no record of his departure. It's almost as if he vanished into thin air. That's a hard question to answer. We were always supportive of each other, but there was also a distance between us I could never cross. And I don't know how I'd feel if it turned out he abandoned us and the project. But I do hope that wherever he is, he's okay. I don't know. I understand that House Kadik has ties to the outside systems, but it's so out of character for him. Regardless, that day I not only lost a mentor, I lost my chief advocate. My colleagues started to ignore me. They didn't respect me as a scientist, so of course no one listened when I warned them about the morning device. In a strange way, I had lost my voice again. Maybe in other fields, but I didn't expect them to stare the science in the face and still stick to their stubbornness. It's odd to say, but the disaster is what gave me my voice back. There's a comfort in knowing history will remember me kindly, even if my colleagues will not. Heisenberg's principle states that all things have uncertainty, that nothing can be measured with precision. The same is true of the future. But I am hopeful that Hazmekdul Kef will serve the role of speaker with honor and faith. If nothing else, things will run on time. Then I will trust in your wisdom, as well as the great serpents, for they are surely guiding your hand. I'm not sure I follow. There's nothing to reconcile. Our beliefs don't contradict science. Traditional scientists may differ, but they have a history of being close-minded. It's almost as if the older you get, the more stubborn and rigid your brain becomes. Like bread. Well, how would you describe dark matter? It's invisible, formless, not bound by the rules of electromagnetism. Yet without it, the universe cannot be explained. The motion of galaxies, the clusters and filaments, it all becomes a mystery when you remove this unknowable thing. The vortex of folded space is the same way. There are parts we understand, and parts that only make sense in the context of a greater being. That being is what we call the Great Serpent. Exactly! Nothing is given! Everything is dough! Anyway, sorry if I seem a little defensive. I'm just used to people not taking me seriously. I'm one of the best scientists in the world, but I still have to fight for respect because I look so young. And I respect you, but it's only because we engaged each other with an open mind. Others don't. And it's not just science. I get the same dirty looks when I preach the gospel of the Great Serpent. No one wants to be lectured by a child. But if I was bald and bearded, I bet even the accursed would become true believers. You have a point. But I've never dealt with an actual accursed before. At least one that wasn't actively cursing me. But now I want to know more about your beliefs. Who do you think created our universe? That's okay. Sometimes it's better to say I don't know than come up with an answer that is like a groat with no horns. The only time it's bad is when you're doing it to avoid the question. Then it's just lazy. But I'm sure that's not what you're doing here. On that note, I think I need a break from this topic. Epistemological debates are fun, but exhausting. Have a good one.